Hey, welcome back everyone. So for today's video, I'm continuing a tradition that I do every year where I kind of walk you through all the military surplus firearms that I've acquired over the last 12-month period, 12, 13 months. So this would be from June 2024 to mid-year 2025. So basically right now at the beginning of June 2025. Tell you where I bought them, where they were acquired, was it online, was it at a shop, at a show, provide some price examples, and tell you a little bit about what I'm collecting and why, and kind of my thoughts about the marketplace at the moment. So those of you who have watched my videos, these yearly update videos on the milcert market, you know that this is, and I tell you this is really just a time capsule of information, so people can go back and say, wow, that's the market's different. And it's, I don't know if it's necessarily helpful for you guys that are buying milcerps in 2025, but it could be helpful. Say, oh, good, well, you know, this is what people were paying last year. And again, I'm not recommending that these are the prices that you go out and buy these at. Depending on your region, you may have access to better markets, better deals, but it's all really just circumstantial. I've been collecting roughly since 2014, although I didn't really have money to spend on firearms until I was out of college when I graduated in 2017, but I was still able to get, you know, the occasional Mosin-Nagant, the Arisaka for cheap. So we're coming up just over a decade of collecting now in 2025. And reflecting on those 10 years, I've learned a lot. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've come across some pretty sweet deals. I've gotten burned. So again, if you're thinking about getting into the milcert market or are already into the milcert market, a lot of what I'm going to say is kind of redundant to what others are saying. But, you know, don't forget to join your local collecting group. Join gun boards, forums. There's dozens of forums out there. Make personal connections with people in your state-based milcert community. That's kind of how you avoid those gun broker slop prices. You got to build friends to make it in this collecting community. And within the community, there are some great people who are passionate about collecting, so don't be afraid to ask for help. But also make sure you're doing your homework. People respect you more if you're trying to, if you at least put a little bit of work into it. Don't be that person who lazily posts a blurry photo on Reddit or Facebook saying, what do I have? What is this? When spending 10 to 15 minutes on Google will typically give you rudimentary answers that you're looking for. I typically avoid Facebook now and almost all of Reddit. All of the Reddit collecting groups, because 95% of this is just posts saying, oh, I bought this at the gun show and I don't know what it is. Can someone tell me something about it? Well, there are so many resources online. Not all of it's accurate, but rudimentary details about what rifle you'll have, what are some of the markings. People are going to be more adapt to help you if you put in a little bit of work to find out what it is. So don't be that guy. So if you've watched my previous videos or are familiar with my channel at all, you know that I've been really focused on collecting Italian Carcano, specifically all the manufacturers, and then I focused on some Turkish stuff. This year I've been kind of all over the place, still within the World War I, World War II field, but I've been focusing on handguns for the most part. Still mostly rifles, of course, still rounding out my Carcano collection, but I certainly don't want to pass up on good deals or opportunities when they come along. And I've come across several good handgun deals that were worth jumping on. We've also seen recent imports of Beretta 34 and 35s. Obviously, Carcano prices are stable between $250 and $500, $600, depending on the model and condition. Honestly, there are 6 to 7 websites that I just kind of frequently check every couple days to see what pops up, where there are deals, so that, you know, Simpsons, Empire Arms, Angara, Gunbroker. I would say over a third of my purchases in the last 12 months were from private sales. You know, these are people downsizing their collections, and others were almost all online, with the exception of a few at local gun stores or from local shows. Now, I only went to one show this past 12 months. I'm not a big gun show guy. It's really just, hey, you want to go with a friend? It's something to do on a Saturday or a Sunday. They can be fun, but to tell you the truth, the last show I went to a couple months ago, the Virginia Gun Collectors Association show, prices were pretty frozen. Despite it being, I would say, a buyer's market right now. You know, there's recession talks, people downsizing their collections. Vendors were not dropping prices, and that's not just at local gun shows, that's also what we've been seeing online in some places. I got one deal there that I'll talk about later, but it seems that sellers are slow to drop their prices and probably aren't in a rush to offload their inventories. And maybe they will when an actual recession occurs and if the job market gets really bad, but unfortunately most of the firearms that you get really good deals on are people not trying to make money, but rather people who are shifting their collecting interests, downsizing, or are in a bad economic spot. So, you know, several of the guns I got was because people said, hey, I'm moving away from this, or I collect, I collect Arisakas, but I have one too many, need to downsize a little bit, focus on other stuff. So that's typically where you're going to see a lot of those deals pop up on an individual basis. Guys, again, this is a reminder that collecting firearms is not an investment. It's a hobby. If I was to hypothetically slowly sell off my collection over the course of the next few months, it'd be unlikely that I'd actually make a profit at all and would probably lose money just because these firearms do not appreciate very quickly. In fact, most depreciate. Talking about modern weapons, there are certain ones that do appreciate, and generally speaking, these old milsurps do appreciate over time, but it does not outpace the stock market by any stretch of the imagination, even in times of recession or bad, I guess, economic activity in the stock market. So if you are interested in making money, this is the wrong hobby for you. This is a hobby for shooters, collectors, people who appreciate milsurps. Go buy mutual funds if you're looking to make money. I've seen so many videos recently on YouTube of milsurp collectors who are like, oh, here's the models you need to buy if you're interested in making money in the long term. No, this is a hobby. It's not an investment. It's great if your items appreciate, but if you sell them 15 years from now, you're not going to make a ton of money off of them unless for some reason you were the only person that owns that particular one and the rest burned up in a fire. So just making that clear. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and get started. I will go through these firearms with you and tell you a little bit about what I paid for them, where I got them, and what condition they're in. All right, the first rifle we have is the one I've been holding throughout this introduction, is a Sako Finnish M39. This is 1944 dated. These are very nice rifles, very accurate. Obviously chambered in 7.62 by 54R. This is a 74,000 serial number range. Yeah, this got 1944 right on the barrel there. This one was imported by Inner Ordnance through Monroe, North Carolina, so it is stamped. I purchased this one at a local gun shop for $595. There is dings on it. It's got some, at one point, the wood was replaced in certain different places. Probably fell over at some point. Pristine barrel, though, very nice. Nothing really wrong with it. Again, it just has some wear and tear. There's nothing unique about it. But I've been looking for these for a while. $595 probably is a little bit lower than market price. I think people are getting these for, again, good condition, $650, $700. Maybe they're pushing $900 in some markets. So anyway, great rifle. Glad I picked it up. Glad I saw the price on that. All right, the next rifle I have is a Mosin-Nagant M91, made in Tula in 1917. Still has the imperial markings on it, minus the actual flag that had been, or the imperial eagle on it, had been defaced at some point, so probably went outside of Russia. Bought this for $431 from a private individual, but nice example of an imperialist czarist era M91 Mosin-Nagant. So there you have it. All right, this is of course a Mauser K98K. I purchased this at the Virginia Gun Collectors Association show a couple months ago for $450. Of course, it's a Russian capture. There are some issues with it. The bolt is from a Kar98A rifle, which is, I think, pretty typical of these Russian captures. I'd say it's Mauser Orbendorf, 1943 dated. It's got a lot of personality marks. Not a whole lot of stuff is matching. Again, Russian capture, K98K, 450 bucks. Not terrible. And again, I bought this from a private individual at the VGCA show. So, yeah, can't complain about another K98K. Okay, something a little out of the scope of what I'm typically collecting is this SKS, Chinese Type 56 SKS. I saw this and decided, well, I don't have an SKS and it's such an iconic rifle, I should probably get one before they get even more expensive. This one is from Old Western Scrounger. It's like a, I don't know, it was their B grade ones. I don't remember exactly what terminology they, so I mean, this one is in pretty rough shape. Though I've went to the range and shot it a bunch, no issues. It just has nails and where all the cracks are. Definitely need to get a new stock for it at some point. But runs great. Paid 400 bucks for it from Old Western Scrounger. Anyway, needed an SKS in my collection. And of course, gotta get a classic Chinese Cold War semi-auto. So there you have it. All right, next is this, obviously, model 1891 Carcano long rifle. This was made in 1896 by Torino. Chambered in 6.5 Carcano, obviously. So this is an antique Carcano, non-RTI. I bought this from Orange Coast Auctions in California. Bought it for 350 bucks, or sorry, $390. It's a pretty good price, I'd say, for an antique non-RTI example. It does have a mismatched stock, and then it's got this kind of weird, but kind of cool repaired stock tang, or, you know, this repair in the stock tang. I've taken it to the range a couple times. It's pretty nice. Anyway, can't beat an antique Carcano for, you know, 390 bucks. So next up we have another Carcano. This is an 1895 Tory. Got it from a guy for 175 bucks. Again, kind of in that pursuit of collecting all the different manufacturers. Someone reached out to me and said, I got this thing. It's a manufacturer I didn't have. It's also 1895 dated, so not bad. It said $175 shipped. I said, yeah, why not? It is a Royal Tiger Imports example, as you can tell. Kind of hard to miss that just with all the wear and tear and issues on it. So, yeah, I won't complain about that. Needed it, and yeah, bores to be expected for anything you get from Royal Tiger Imports. So, yep, 175 bucks. All right, now this is probably one of my favorite Carcanos that I own, and I picked this model 9141, manufactured in 1943 by Armaguerra Cremona. For $383. I got this from Aid's Gun Shop, and I think they're based in Orange County, California. It's a beautiful, beautiful model 9141. Armaguerra Cremona was a manufacturer I needed. Beautiful stock. It looks almost brand new. Maybe lightly sanded, I can't tell. But anyway, picked this up again for $383. These guys go for, I don't know, if you get it on Gunbroker, you're going to find it for usually like, I don't know, $500-600 bucks, because people will pile on and just pay a ton of money and outbid each other. So I think I got lucky with this. Absolute gem of a rifle. Very accurate. The 9141s are, other than the 735s, are my favorite Carcano models. So beautiful example of a 9141. Okay, the final Carcano I got is this model 9128, or a Moschetto per Truppe Speciale Modificato 1891, made by Pietro Lorenzotti in Italy in 1931. This is chambered in 6.5 Carcano. It does have an import mark, P.W. Armins, Redmond, Washington. And I bought this for $360 from a private individual. This was one of the manufacturers I needed. And it does have civilian proof marks on it, and then was later re-inspected by the Army in 1947, which kind of has a cool history to it. I think the top handguard is obviously a little bit different. It's got some love marks on it, but this manufacturer is not as common. So I've seen these go on Gunbroker for like 600 bucks, and so found someone that would sell it to me for 360. Think I got a deal. So last Carcano I got. All right, so I did pick up a Mannlicher model 1888/90. This was produced by Steyr, obviously in Austria. I think around 1890. These are straight pull rifles chambered in 8x50 millimeter rims. It has a serial number of 1628E, and this was from Royal Tiger Imports, of course. Purchased it for $250. Whatever. I mean, like I said, I always tell people not to buy from Royal Tiger Imports. Saw this and said, might be a fun rifle just to pick up. It's got a cool mechanism. No one else really brings them in. They're neat rifles. This one turned out to be all right. Took it apart, cleaned it. There's a few issues, but works now. So, and they're kind of cool looking rifles. So, whatever. Picked it up. It's not worth $250, but it's in my collection now. Okay, rifle number 10 is a Chilean model 1912-61 carbine. So these are 1912, Chilean 1912 contract rifles, of course. They made the 1912 carbine, and then in the 1960s, they took a lot of the long rifles, cut them down. They kept some long rifles, which I also have, converted those to 7.62 NATO, and then they took a bunch of these and just cut them down to length. They needed a bunch of carbines, and so, you know, a lot of the bluing's gone on this. I purchased this. Well, of course, it's manufactured by Steyr. I'll just mention that real quick. 7.62 NATO, like we just mentioned. Purchased this for $395 from Simpsons Limited. Imported by Century Arms. So yeah, pretty nice rifle. I collect Chilean Mausers. These were the two models I kind of needed to round off my collection, but yeah, not too bad. Haven't shot it yet, but it's got some character marks on it. Like I said, no bluings on it. Not really matching, but cool rifles nonetheless. And like we were just talking about, the Chilean 1912-61 long rifle. So these are just the 1912 Chilean long rifles that they kept in the same length. They just converted these to 7.62 NATO. Again, manufactured by Steyr, chambered in 7.62, imported by... Actually, this one has an import mark from... Armamentos Inc. And then I purchased this for $500 from Lingara Arms a couple months ago. So, kind of rounded off my Chilean Mauser collection. I got all the variants now. I think this one may have been reblued at some point. But anyway, there you have it. All right, rifle number 12 is this Arisaka Type 99, obviously chambered in 7.7 Jap. Picked this up for $655 shipped from a private individual. Cool thing is, it's my first Arisaka with the mum still intact. It's got early characteristics. Still has the wings on the side, and then you know, the bipod thing that comes down. The thing is still here. It's just broken. The original bipod's broken. Whatever. Not a big deal. I'll find a reproduction one on the market. But anyway, really just wanted to get it for the mum. $655 seemed reasonable. Was probably sanded down at some point. Again, well, whatever. Prefer that it not be, but this is where we're at. And again, this is the Tokyo Kagyo Arsenal, just so you know. Yeah, and so, yep, bought this earlier this year, $655 for a mummed Arisaka in 2025. I think that's a pretty good deal. Okay, so I got another Arisaka earlier this year. This is obviously a last-ditch Series 8 Nagoya Type 99, also in 7.7 Jap, of course. And then I got this from a local gun store for $385. That seems to be what Arisakas are going for now. I went to this gun shop and they probably had a bunch of late war rifles or a bunch of last ditch Arisakas between 350 or low 400s. So yeah, purchased this from CS Arms in Upperville, Virginia for $385. Obviously, it's demummed. You got a lot of the 8th series features. Still has the wooden butt plate on it. Anyway, neat rifle, good rifling. All right, now we move on to some of the pistols I got. So we're looking at item number 14 is a Nagant revolver. This is made in 1912 by Tula in Russia. This was imported by BKI. Bought it for $555 from CS Arms in Upperville, Virginia. So it is a Tsarist era revolver. And it also came with this cool box here. The old, try to give you a old box. Then obviously probably a post-World War II holster. Got some stuff in it, fitting stuff. You know, I don't know if $555 was a good deal or a bad deal. That's probably just not, that's probably a neutral deal. Thought the box was cool. Doesn't add a ton of value for me personally, but if I ever go to resell it sometime later, someone might find that pretty neat. So anyway, first Nagant revolver. So I got a Beretta Model 35. This one was manufactured in 1944, so late war production. This is obviously chambered in 32 ACP. Bought this for $275 from a private individual. It's got some wear on the handle, or on the slide here. But other than that, it's in really good condition. Had no issues with it, other than, again, the bluing not being, perfect. And then the other pistol I got was, and I think Ian McCollum talked about this in his recent video, is a Beretta Model 34. Now this one is from 1972, so obviously they made these for a very long time. They made both of these models until after the war. This is a Beretta Model 1934, chambered in 380 ACP. This one was imported by Royal Tiger Imports, Interornits. I did buy this through Atlantic Arms, $300. And then the thing with this is because the original ones had threaded barrels and you couldn't import them into the U.S. with threaded barrels, you would have to put on the welded silencer that they had to break off. This one does have a new barrel on it. So 1972, I think, what I understand, these are Army pistols. Anyway, from a collector's perspective, I don't really care about because it's post World War II. I don't care about the new barrels in them. So as long as it looks good and shoots good, that's what I'm here for. But anyway, needed one, paid $300 for it from Atlantic Firearms, and I still think there's a bunch on there. Up next, we've got a Model No. 2 Mk1 Double Star British revolver. Made by Enfield in 1945. This was, of course, chambered in 38 Smith & Wesson. This was the main British small arm used in World War II. This is non-import marked and was purchased for $468 from Empire Arms. It's really the first time I ever purchased anything from Empire Arms, despite following them for a long time. This also has the non-serrated backstrap. So, double action, but, as the war went on, they started getting rid of some features to save machining costs. Bluing's not perfect on this. In fact, the bluing's, pretty rough on most of this. All matching components, though, which is kind of nice. Retains the lanyard ring. Some of these late ones don't have those. All right, there you go. This next one is a fun one. It's a Type 94 Nambu, made in 1943 by Nagoya Arsenal. Semi-automatic Japanese pistol, 8mm Nambu. Serial number is 40,432. I purchased this for $875 at Armaguerra Arms. And I think this is the third variant of the Nambu 94, produced between 1941 and 1944. Has all matching components, which is pretty cool. Awkward gun. I mean, I haven't got to shoot it yet, but it's a bizarre looking one. Still has the plastic grips on it rather than the wooden ones, which were replaced later. And then bluing seems to be really good. I haven't taken it apart yet, but doesn't really seem to be a lot of damage or, scratches on it. Seems to be in good condition. So anyway, there is my first Nambu pistol, and I do want to get I do want to get a Type 14 at some point, but that'll probably be a next year thing. All right, I've been wanting a Walther P38 for a very long time. Decided to just go spend the money and get it. You find these at gun shows for ridiculous prices. I bought it at $1,100, which I thought was a fair price for this one from Lingara Arms. This one was produced in 1945 by Walther, and it is serial number 9199B. So this, I believe, is a March 1945 production date, which is pretty close to the end of the war. You know, I think probably one of the last 20,000 of these to be made. It's March 1945, AC 1945 code, and then it's a 359 Waffenamt on it. So all matching, pretty nice. Haven't taken it out to the range yet, but yeah, paid $1,100 for this. So there you have it. All right, last firearm on the list is a Seeger-made Tokarev TTC, manufactured in 1952. 52 date on it. Of course, it was imported by PW Arms. It's got the beautiful import stamp on the slide here. Joking, of course. Purchased this for $270 from a private seller. It has a broken safety on it, like it's kind of chipped out on the safety side, but it still works. Just that's the only issue with it. And then yeah, it comes with this holster, again similar to like the Soviet one for the Nagant. Has an extra magazine, clean rod, some other components. So anyway, this is my other Cold War purchase to go along with the SKS. Never had a Tokarev before, just needed to include one in the collection. So there you have it, $270 for a Romanian Tokarev in 2025. Well, that was it, everyone. If you ended up watching to the end or jumped around a little bit, I hope you enjoyed it. You know, firearm collecting is a rewarding and fun hobby. Make sure you're making the most of the connections you have, guys. It's a fun hobby. You get to shoot guns, you get to collect history, you have that connection, you know, with people that were alive 100, 150 years ago. And then you also get to use the weapons that they used in their day-to-day lives. And you learn a lot about history, you learn a lot about countries and cultures by this hobby. You learn a little bit about trading and finance. Again, it's not a money-making hobby, but you do get a little bit of financial learning how to trade, negotiate with people. So there's a little bit of aspect of that, and you have to budget, of course, so you're not overspending and going bankrupt or, you know, overspending your personal funds. And then you get to, you know, be social with people. You get to make new friends. I've met a lot of friends through this hobby. So anyway, I'll leave you guys with that, and thank you all for watching. Good luck and happy hunting.